episode. This is Rahul, and right now we are going to do the first crash course on environment and ecology. It contains certain topics which are important for this year exam as a part of current affairs. So one by one we will go through it. As you are having notes with you, I will not dwell deep into them. The important concepts which are there in every topic, I will be telling you. So we will do it in a question answer mode also, and we will see whether what are the relevant facts which I should provide in this module. So first topic is Conservation Assured Tiger Standard. This is abbreviated as CATS. So as we know that tiger during 2010 around, there was a census done and only 1400 odd tigers were left in India. Now this number is around 2200 something is the number which has been now achieved by the various conservation exercises, various initiatives. And now there are 13 tiger range countries. There are 13 tiger range countries, and these countries include India, Pakistan, basically western, southern and northeastern countries like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Bangladesh, Nepal, even Russia is also there. So these are the tiger range countries where the Asiatic tiger is found, and they have been they have initiated a program that by 2022 they intend to double the number of tigers, and there is understanding that only creating a protected area will not go very far, or it is not sufficient. You see, right now our conservation method is like we create national parks, we create wildlife sanctuaries, where these are the protected areas where these tigers are kept, but they believe that there should be more holistic analysis. The habitats which are being disturbed, we need to see the habitat management where sufficient prey is available, vast amount of land is available where this tiger population can do, because tiger population sometimes is called the umbrella species. The more the number of tigers, the better is the ecosystem structure in an habitat. So this is Conservation Assured Tiger Standard, is basically having a complete holistic ecosystem level focus on habitat improvement. So making a protected area is good, but we have to be more looking towards the habitat improvement, so that overall conditions could be improved for survival of tigers. So this is an initiative which has been undertaken by World Wide Fund for Animals, which is WWF, and Global Tiger Forum. Nepal is the first country who has implemented TRC. So there are two types of sites, registered and approved. So registered means that these countries have registered their tiger parks or tiger reserves for this program, and there are approved, which means that these have been approved as an national park conforming to CATS standard. So right now only two are approved, one in Nepal and another in Russia. India have registered its tiger reserves, some of its tiger reserves as a pilot study, and in the due time they will be approved when these standards have been met. So this is how CATS is a framework. You can delve into much further. So tigers, on the issue of tiger preservation, this is a very important concept which could be asked in your examination. Now the second topic talks about conservation of rivers. Now rivers, as you all know, that rivers historically have been. The second topic talks about conservation of rivers. As we all know that rivers are vital for the survival of the civilizations, because on one hand it provides water for drinking, then transportation, then various animals and aquatic animals who are dependent on rivers for survival. So these rivers, their good health is absolutely essential for maintaining a good ecological balance in environment. Now in our country, although we have plenty of rivers and the water discharge is also sufficient, but there are tremendous issues in maintenance of rivers. Naturally there is fluctuation of water, because in some rivers the water is available throughout the year, while another there are southern rivers in the southern part of India which are seasonal in nature. During rains they have high volume of water, otherwise the volume of water is low. So this is fluctuation is there, this is a natural phenomena. But pollution in the recent times have been increased to a very great extent. Most of the municipal sewage is being flown into river water without any treatment. There are shortage of treatment, water treatment or sewage treatment plants in our country, and this is killing the river slowly. Slowly, many of the aquatic animals which are once very popular, like Gangetic dolphin or gharials, they are now being brought to the brink of extinction due to pollution, severe pollution in the rivers. The hydrological cycle, which is the natural flow dynamics, hydrological cycle of the river is being disturbed. So this is one of the issues. So there is great focus towards river conservation. As you all know that Ministry of there is a Ministry of Water Resources have been rechristened as Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. The primary focus here is on Ganga River, and when we say about Ganga River, it's Ganga River system which also contains its tributaries. So there are 7 to 8 tributaries also which are covered in this program. So there is a flagship program called Namami Gange which is going on, and all of you must should have look about it because it's a flagship program. Then there is Amrit also. Amrit program is also going, Atal Mission for Rural and Urban Transformation, in which hydrological management is also a important concept. There is also a national water policy which was drafted in 2012, which was concerned with the overall management of the river, how to develop, which activities we should take. Then there was National Perspective Plan also, NPP, which we say on rivers. So these are all various initiatives. Ministry of Water Resources is the nodal ministry, but other ministries also are involved in this, like in Namami Gange, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, all are working in tandem to improve the river condition. So we should look about the various news which come about the river conservation activities, so that because this is now the focus area of the present government disposition. Now we move on to next topic, which is invasive species. Now what are invasive species? We need to look after it. Invasive species are those species which inhabits an area which are not their natural habitats. So suppose there is a very popular, or you can say very notorious invasive species. It's a water hyacinth. It's a algae which is a native of South America, and now it is being present in almost all continents. So this species was a native of South America, and now it is present in all continents. Now what is the benefit or harm of having an invasive species? So this is an invasive species to other continents. Now invasive, see, in an ecosystem the species are related in the form of food chains or trophic levels. So there are natural predators who maintain the optimum population of a species in an habitat. But when a species enters into another ecosystem, there are absence of its predators or its who can control its population. So it increases in a very rapid way, and it reduces the resources available for other species in that region. And as IUCN says, this is the second most important reason, the invasion of alien species. This is the second most important reason for the loss of biodiversity, because the existing species are in disadvantage and they have to compete with the resource, and there is no prey of, I mean these invasive species, they are not natural prey of any animal in this ecosystem. So now for the first time, this is about the algae which is now infesting many oceans and seas all over the world. but Zoological Survey of India has maintained a list of animal species which can impact the balance of a ecosystem. But this is mostly related to Indian ecosystems. So what are the alien species which can adversely impact the Indian ecosystems? So alien species, it has JSI, Zoological Survey of India, it has listed 157 alien species which are identified, and they can badly damage the ecosystem balance in our country. So these are the concept of alien species. Now we move on to the next topic, which talks about migratory birds in India. Now, as we all know that India lies in the route of migration from colder regions of Siberia to hotter African regions. So if this is Russia and Siberian region, or polar region if you say, so migratory birds, they fly from to their southern destinations like Africa or some other Indonesia or Southeast Asian nations. So India act as a transit point, or it's a resting point when these birds migrate in the cold season from the cold areas to the hotter areas. So the birds generally migrate from the northern hemisphere to the warmer regions of equatorial region or southern hemisphere. So we have many birds which are migrating, and these are Siberian cranes, one of the marquee species which comes. Then we have Amur falcons. These are mostly seen in Nagaland region of country. So these are some of the exotic species of birds which migrate to India during the winters. Then we have cranes, barhead geese, also those sort of birds. Now these birds, they are protected under a convention known as Conservation of Migratory Species. So any sort of hunting of these species are prohibited under this convention, and India is a signatory of CMS convention. Also these species are placed in the first schedule of Wildlife Act 1972, which provide them the highest protection. There are 6 schedules of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The first 2 schedules provide the highest protection. The next 2, 3rd and 4th schedules have lower level of protection, while 5th are called vermins, which can be killed, and 6th about the harmful plants. So these are the 6 schedules of Wildlife Protection Act, and these migratory species are placed in the first schedule of the Wildlife Protection Act. So there are strict penalties for hunting these species. Now Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, WCCB, have also established control for illegal trade in wildlife of the migratory wildlife. So this is all about migratory species, and we need to look after their we need to conserve the migratory species. For a long time Siberian crane was not spotted in Bharatpur, which is the traditional national park, to witness this, and it was assumed that due to the loss of habitat as well as hunting, they are not coming. But now with the conservation efforts, they are being again spotted in India. So India should act as a responsible actor while providing the highest level of preservation and conservation to these migratory species. There is another initiative which was taken by Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. It was known as Operation Kurma, Operation Save Kurma. It was found that turtles, Kurma is a word which is a Sanskrit of turtles. This is turtles. So it was found that there is a rampant illegal trade in turtles. Turtles are considered as auspicious, as well as their meat is in very high demand. Their meat, their skin, and they are also considered as auspicious. So it was observed, or it was analyzed, that there is a vast amount of illegal trade of turtles from India to the neighboring countries. So Operation Save Kurma, it was taken by Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, WCCB, and India was awarded the certificate of commendation for its outstanding achievement in curbing this illegal trade. So around 16,000 live turtles, 16,000 live turtles and tortoises were saved in this operation, and they were released to the wild again. So there is a convention known as CITES. As I told you, there was one CMS that was on migratory species. The CITES is in Convention on International Trade of Endangered Species. So it tackles the illegal trade of endangered species of animals. So turtle is an endangered species and it comes under the Convention of CITES, and therefore India was facilitated by CITES due to its outstanding work in curbing the illegal trade of turtles under the Operation Save Kurma. It's a very recent event, in fact 2018 it happened, so it is important for your examination point of view. Now another step, another issue, conservation method. See, tiger estimation we move on to. Tiger estimation is a very cumbersome exercise because tigers generally prefer isolation, they stay very deep inside the forest, but we need to take tiger census or tiger estimation so as to understand whether the conservation efforts which we have been taken, are they yielding the desired results or not. So they are the indicator of the health of the ecosystem and are linked to the whole balance of the ecosystem, whether they are there or not. So every 4 years a tiger census is taken in India. So every 4 years we take a tiger census, and there are both manual and automated methods of taking tiger census. Manual methods are now on decline. Initially it was based on pug marks or sighting. Now there is a mobile app which has been M-Stripes. This is the name of the mobile apps which has been designed for this is a mobile app which has been designed for doing the tiger estimation. Also camera traps are being used. Camera traps are also being used, which are used to click. See, tigers are basically identified by their stripes, because as we have fingerprints and no fingerprints of two individual match, every person has their unique fingerprints. Similarly, the stripe patterns on the body of tiger, they are unique. So no two tigers can have the same stripe patterns on their body. So what happens is that the camera takes the photos, and these photos are being matched with one another so that we can identify what are the unique number of tigers which has been captured by the camera. So this is the technique which has been used by NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authorities, which we call as M-Stripes and camera traps, which are being used. And by this method we are trying to estimate the number of tigers. Stripe is M-Stripes full form is Monitoring System for Tiger Intensive Protection and Ecological Status. You can just Google it. And then there is also a initiative called SCCR. So this is SCCR, which is system specially explicit capture recapture. Especially explicit capture and recapture. So there are two steps. First, the common enumerators, the people with no specialized training, they count the tigers based on the camera sightings, and after some time the experts also do the recapture and then they tally their numbers. So by this 2006 first it was done, then 10, then 14, and now it will be done in 2018, and now we are having some estimated amount of 2200 plus tigers. So this is the write-up, detailed write-up about the whole methodology of tiger estimation. You should go into this. Apart from being interesting, it can also be used in some part of question and or as a complete question in your examination. Now there are some cross-border tiger counts also, because there are certain national parks which are on the boundary. Like in Nepal and India, Chitwan National Park in Nepal and Valmiki Tiger Reserve in Bihar, they share the boundary. So tigers can migrate from one place to another between Nepal and India, and therefore these countries, both countries are going with joint tiger counts. Similarly, Dudhwa Tiger Reserve, Bardia National Park in Nepal, they all share boundaries. So when the tiger reserve share boundaries, the joint tiger count is necessary so that the correct number of tiger can be estimated. Tiger range countries I have already told you. So you should go into the write-up in a big detail so that you can get a broader idea. Now some places and facts and news, small write-up is being given. So there is, first is river Sal. So Sal river is in Sal river, it's in Goa. It's in the Nevalim town in Goa, which is highly being polluted, and therefore now the efforts are being done by government to rejuvenate this river, and this will be a pilot study, and similarly other rivers all over India will be rejuvenated. So this river is in Goa, and Nevalim, where the conservation effort is being taken up. So this river is in Goa. Ministry of Water Resources is a nodal agency which is looking after its conservation. So a sewage treatment plant will be laid down there. STP will be laid down there, which will control the pollution or the pollutants entering into the river. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has sanctioned this project. Now the second is Deepor Bill. Deepor Bill is the word for lake or jheel in Assamese. This Deepor Bill is in Assam, and it's a old channel of the Brahmaputra river. So this is one of the largest freshwater lake in Assam, and Ministry of it is also a wetland under Ramsar Convention. So this Deepor Bill, it's also a wetland under the Ramsar Convention. So Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ramsar Convention. So Ministry of Environment and Forest is now planning to organize a national level World Wetlands Day at this place. So it's a very critical place, and it can be also asked in a way of identifying Deepor Bill is in which state, or in the map questions also. So it's a very significant place of interest in terms of ecology and environment. And the national wetland day will be celebrated at Deepor Bill. World's Wetland Day, not even national, World's Wetland Day will be celebrated at Deepor Bill. Now Okhla Bird Sanctuary. Okhla Bird Sanctuary is in UP. It's in NCR. Basically, it's near Noida. And now some of its part lies in Uttar Pradesh, and some around 30 to 40% it lies in the Delhi area also. So it is situated on a road connecting Delhi and Noida, and therefore it can be developed as a good choice for ecotourism, where the ecological and environmental aspects can be displayed for increasing tourism and increasing awareness among the tourists. So the eco-sensitive zone of Okhla Bird Sanctuary has been notified recently, so that there can be a boundary within. There will be no human intervention, and apart from outside that boundary, human intervention can be allowed. So now this place can be revamped as a ecological site which has easier access on Delhi-Noida border. International Cherry Blossom Festival, it is being celebrated in Shillong. So cherry blossom is a very picturesque you can say event. So this cherry blossom festival is being celebrated in Shillong. So when cherry blossoms, it blossoms for around 4 to 5 weeks, and it's a very picturesque event. Multiple colors and trees you can see. So it is being organized in joint venture with IBSD, which is Institute for Biological and Sustainable Development under Ministry of Department of Biotechnology, and ICCR, which is Indian Council for Cultural Research Relations. So they blossom for a short period, and their pink and white colors are a very picturesque sight. In Japan it will started, and there is a Sakura festival which is celebrated in Japan and which celebrates this cherry blossom activity. India also trying to link this cherry blossoming season with the tourist footfall, so as to increase the ecosystem as well the social sustainability of that area. And there is another unique aspect about the cherry blossom in India. In overseas conditions they blossom in the month of April and May, but in India in March and June, but in India they blossom in the month of November. So it is a seasonal advantage also, because on the in overseas conditions it blossoms in the month of March and June. So cherry blossom festival is being celebrated in Shillong, and this can be a big event, and it can increase the tourist footfalls in India, and thus it becomes an important topic for your examination. Ant species, we move on to species in news. A new species of ant has been found in Andaman and Nicobar, and they were dwelling in the leaf litter. The litter means the leaves which fall from the plant to the ground, and they were dwelling into those leaf litter. So they have been identified with a very novel X-ray microtechnology which can bring the inside anatomy of an ant. And when you make inside anatomy, you can identify whether they belong to the species which have been discovered earlier, or they are altogether a new species. So these species have been found as altogether new species, and they are named after K.S. Krishnan, who is a renowned scientist, and Jarawas. So there are two names, Terramorium Jarava and Terramorium krishnani, and they are named after the V.K. Krishnan, who was a scientist, and Jarava are the, as you know, Jaravas are the tribes of Andaman which have inhabited those areas from the places where these ant species have been discovered from the leaf litter in the on the evergreen forest. Similarly, ant species have been found in Periyar Tiger Reserves. Periyar Tiger Reserve is in Kerala, and as you know that Western Ghats and whole the Kerala, Malabar, Konkan region is very endemic. It's a hotspot. It's a biodiversity hotspot, and another ant species have been found in Periyar Tiger Reserve in Kerala. Now we move on to Asiatic cheetahs. Now Asiatic cheetahs, there are two variants of cheetah. Cheetah is the fastest terrestrial animal, as we all know. It can range up to a speed of 90 miles per hour. And Asiatic cheetahs, they were originally inhabitants or found in natives of Iran, but at their prime they have spread from the eastern coast of India to the North African region. So these Asiatic cheetahs, these were found, they are the original natives of Iran area, but their spread was historically from eastern coast of India to the northern African region. But currently, due to their hunting and due to habitat destruction, due to less availability of prey, less than 50 members of Asiatic cheetahs are now remaining. There are their counterparts, African cheetahs, which are relatively less endangered. They have been settled in African region, but they are under great threat. So IUCN has termed these Asiatic cheetahs as critically endangered. These Asiatic cheetahs have been critically endangered. So they are on the verge of extinction. Now United Nations have they have made a decision to pull funding from the protection of these Asiatic cheetahs. So giving the precarious situation, there is a whole amount of hue and cry which have been made by the proponents of wildlife conservation, because their numbers are very less and there is a very big chance if we do not put our concerted efforts towards their preservation, they will become extinct. They are also lost more on roadkill, because during the highways which pass through their areas, they often come in the way of high speed moving vehicles. So their numbers are decreasing very sharply. Now another endangered animal is chiru. I think in 2014 or 15 they asked about Chiru. It's an antelope. It's like deer. It's an antelope. It is found in the Tibetan region. So in the Ladakh region of Himalaya, or you can say in Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir, this Chiru antelope is being found. Now the parliamentary panel on environment and forest, they wanted to do the captive breeding or the captive raising of Chiru so that they can be preserved and they are not hunted for. There is a fabric called Shahtush. This fabric is obtained from the fur of Chirus and which is in highly demand. So they, the parliamentary panel suggested that there could be captive breeding of Chirus. So the parliamentary panel suggested the captive breeding of Chirus. But this proposal has not been accepted by Ministry of Environment and Forest because it was assumed that the captive breeding will not be fulfill the purpose because they are hunted for its under fur, which makes the Shahtush shawls. And if you make them captive, again they will be hunted or they will be killed for the making of Shahtush shawls. Also, they need a wide amount of range. I mean, they need wide range, wide landscape so that they can roam around. Their habitat requirement is very large and which cannot be satisfied in a confined environment in captive breeding. So they are assessed as near threatened. This is a category under IUCN where this is a categorization of Chiru, and therefore Shahtush shawls has been banned by the making amendments in the Wildlife Act so that they are not hunted for their fur, and therefore it has been assumed by Ministry of Environment and Forest that the ideal breeding conditions will be to keep them in the natural environment in high altitude rather than going for the captive breeding. Clouded leopard, we just discussed about the Asiatic cheetahs. Another endangered species is clouded leopard. Now leopard and cheetahs are the feline species or the cats, but they are vastly different. These clouded leopard, they are largely tree dwelling animals. So clouded leopards, they are generally found in Himalayan and other hilly regions. These are their natural habitats, and these clouded leopards are largely tree breeding animals. They prefer to spend more of their time on trees. So India was the conservation effort for this can be judged from the fact that they have been the official mascot of FIFA Under 17 World Cup, which was held in New Delhi, and throughout its range they are founded in the tropical evergreen forest. They are listed as vulnerable in IUCN. They are listed as vulnerable in IUCN categorization. Buxa River, Buxa Reserve in Bihar is one of the, or in West Bengal Manas Reserve. These are the, in Tripura also, the Clouded Leopard National Park is in Tripura, where their conservation is being taken in. So these vulnerable species, adequate amount of protection is being provided so that the species can survive. Now we talk about eel. Eel is a fish which dwells into saline water. So scientists have discovered 3 new species of eel in the northern Bay of Bengal coast. So they are found in the bottom. So if we look about the animals in oceanic environment, so generally the animals, if this is an ocean surface, the animals which dwell at the bottom, they are called the benthic animals. And then there are certain animals called crustaceans and cetaceans. Crustaceans and cetaceans. These crustaceans, they can flow. They can flow with the help of their fins, or and they can flow even against the water. So fishes which usually swim at the surface, these are known as crustaceans, the animals which dwell at the bottom of the ocean surface, they are called benthic animals. So this eel is an benthic animal. They are mostly found at the bottom of rivers and seas. Now, the newly discovered species, the three species which have been found in Bay of Bengal coast, they are not currently consumed by people in large amount, but as the fish catch is being decreased and the population pressure on fish is being increased gradually, then in the recent future, in the near future, it is highly possible that these species can be used for food in near future. Flying squirrel is also an endangered animal. It is found in Western Ghats. So now scientists have also discovered a new species of flying squirrel in North America. So they are also known as Humboldt flying squirrel, and these are very exotic animals. They are found in Western Ghats in India, and they are highly endangered in status. Now there are two species of ginger. Ginger is a very common spice which we use every day almost in our food preparations, food and drink preparations. So two species of ginger. Two species of ginger have been found in Manipur and Mizoram, both on the Myanmar border. Manipur and Nagaland, I'm sorry. So there is a Ukhrul area in Manipur, Ukhrul, and in Nagaland it's in Tuensang region. So new species of ginger has been found. So these are epiphytic plants. The ginger species found in Tuensang district is an epiphytic plant. Now what are epiphytic plants? These plants do not have roots. So they dwell on a tree. So their seeds germinate over a tree branch and they suck the moisture from the atmosphere. So their roots are not there which can bring the moisture from beneath the ground. They suck the moisture from the atmosphere. So they are epiphytes. The second ginger variety was found growing in rock surfaces, the cracks which are there in rocks, boulders and humus. So these are the two ginger species which have been found in India, northern eastern states of Manipur and Nagaland, and one of them is an epiphyte which has been dwelling in the Tuensang region of Nagaland. Now we talk about Great Indian Bustard. Great Indian Bustard is it's a flightless bird which is found in the arid region. So generally it is found in Gujarat. Once it was highly prevalent in those regions, but right now they are critically endangered, mostly due to their hunting for their meat as well as the destruction of the habitats. The fields, the shrub lands are now being cleared for agriculture, so their natural habitat are being destroyed. So the amount has dwindled very sharply. During the time of independence, it was even contemplated to make it national animal, a national bird, this Great Indian Bustard, and now the numbers have dwindled so little, and it is still the national animal of the state of national bird of the state of Rajasthan. So now for their conservation, two facilities have been developed in Kota and Jaisalmer area of Rajasthan. So it will take the eggs from the wild breeding population and then it hatch it in these protected areas. So as I say that only around 90 odd number of these Great Indian Bustards are remaining. So there is a very high need to preserve them in protected areas or in confined environment so that the species doesn't get extinct. So these are also listed in CMS. I told you conservation migratory species. So it's the hunting of Great Indian Bustard, which if it flows from one area to another, it moves from one area to another, is strictly prohibited. These are also covered under CITES. So illegal trade of Great Indian Bustard, cross boundary trade is prohibited, and they are in the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. So any effort to hunt them is very strictly penalized. As you recently saw that black buck, if we talk about black buck, is also a Schedule 1 animal, and recently Salman Khan was sent to jail for hunting black buck, and black buck is a Schedule 1 animal and its hunting is strictly prohibited. It's protected by the law. So similarly Great Indian Bustard, it is also a Schedule 1 animal. Now we talk about humpback whales. So actually humpback whales, they have a small hump on their body, and that's how they are being characterized. So these humpback whales, although they were once very endangered, but due to the control on the whaling, there is an International Whaling Commission IWC which controls all the whaling exercises. So due to this control, their population has now somewhat stabilized, but still they are their number in the Arabian Sea or near the Indian coast is still very variable, very fluctuating. So in Oman, they fitted a chip inside a satellite. With the help of satellite, they tracked a humpback whale by inserting a chip. The name was Luban. The animal was named Luban, and it was one of the 14 whales that were tagged by the chip, so that they can be tracked by the satellite. So these are baleen whales. Now you should be knowing about the baleen whales. Baleen whales are the species of the whales, and they are characterized by the fluid in their head. So generally they are hunted for this fluid because it is considered to be healing and it's a highly sought after meat. So these are called baleen whales. This is about this humpback whale which has been tagged in Gulf of Oman, so that their movement can be tracked, and what is their behavior pattern, because they are least understood in the Arabian Sea and the water surrounding the Indian coast and Indian Ocean. The another species, we are talking about monkey moth. So this monkey moth, it was earlier recorded in central India, in northern Himalayas, but recently it has been also found in the Western Ghat. So this moth means an insect like caterpillar, and it has the its outer wings, so its outer skin is having shiny color like the fur of monkey, and therefore it is called monkey moth. So historically it was never present in the southern India, but right now they are also spotted in Pachamalai hills in Western Ghats. So it also raises the question or the concern that the temperature patterns or the climatic patterns have been changing, and these animals are now being present in the other regions of the India, which they were not present earlier. Now mouse deer is a deer which is found in Nalamalla area in Andhra Pradesh. So these are very small deers, very little height, therefore they are called mouse deers, and generally they are found in deciduous tree areas. They keep their young ones in sal trees, in the remnants of sal trees, but now most of the sal trees are now being utilized for timber formation, so they are under their existence is under threat. And when their hunting was allowed, their meat was priced 3 times the original meat. So they are considered as a delicacy in a non-veg dishes. They are considered as a delicacy, but right now they have been placed in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, and their hunting is strictly banned. So they are ungulates. There is a term called ungulates. Ungulates are the animals which have hoof. Now what is hoof? Hoof is, if you see the feet of these animals, so they are not fingers. There is a black round cover of padding which we say. If you see horse, they are not fingers on their toes. They are having a hoof, odd numbered, even numbered. So they are called ungulates. So it is a very small ungulate which is found in Nalamalla hills in Andhra Pradesh. So it's in Schedule 1. Now Narcondam hornbill. Hornbill is a species of bird which is then this is endemic to Narcondam. Narcondam is a small island in Andaman and Nicobar. So these species from the brink of extinction, now their population is being growing. In the endangered, these were endangered. There are very few individuals who are left of Narcondam hornbill, and now there are reports that their population has been growing. So this is a victory for the conservation efforts. All over the world the species are under threat and danger and being threatened of being extinct, but this is a very big success story of rejuvenating a species from the verge of extinction. So this species is endemic. Now endemic means there is a word called endemic and endemism. Endemic means that or endemism means that these species are naturally adapted to this particular ecosystem or particular habitat, and they cannot survive anywhere else, or they are not found anywhere else. So these species are highly vulnerable, because once their habitat is destroyed, they are extinct because they are not present anywhere else. Like there are certain species which are present all over the ecosystems, like monkeys. They are prevalent from Himalayas to Kanyakumari. We can find monkey, but there are certain species which are found in only very specialized habitats. So these are called endemic species. So once that habitat is destroyed, there is no chance that these species can survive. So this Narcondam hornbill is type of a endemic species which is only found in the Narcondam island, which lies east of Andaman and Nicobar. But since the number have increased, so it's a victory for the conservation effort which is being undertaken. So it used mature undisturbed forest for nesting and roosting, and it makes hollow on the trunk. There is a trunk and they make hollow and put their young ones. The eggs are hatched in these hollows. Now Neela Kurinji, it's a special type of plant, or you can say flowering plant. Neela Kurinji. It blossoms in 12 years. So after 12 years this plant gets flower. This is a flowering plant, and this plant gets flower after a cycle of 12 years, and at this time the whole mountain looks blue. So Kurinji is the name of the flower species, and Neel Kurinji means the whole mountain range, and these are generally found in sholas. As I told you in my earlier lectures, that sholas are the grasslands or mountain grasslands of southern India, the Nilgiris. Nilgiri itself comes from these plants, because Neel means blue, and when they blossom in 12 years, the whole mountain looks blue. So these shola areas in southern hemisphere, western Ghats and southern forest, these are the mountain grasslands where these plants are found, and once they bloom, a very picturesque sight generates. So now Kerala government has decided to redraw the boundaries of this Neela Kurinji reserve in Munnar region. The Munnar region is the center of this Neela Kurinji plantation. If you ever get a chance to visit these areas in their blooming years, you will really cherish the site. You can also Google the images if you want right now. And the species flower once in 12 years, and the unusually long cycle adds to its charm. So they are best viewed in Munnar and Ervaikulam. This is an area in Kerala. It's in the southern part of India, the Sholas region. So now we move on to next species, night frogs. Night frogs are very small frogs. If you say your finger length, these are the sizes of these frogs, and they are some of the endemic species which are found in Western Ghats, and some of them are found being discovered in areas where the proposed water projects are there. Like Athirapalli is a water project which is being planned in Kerala, and there is an Athirapalli night frog which has been recently discovered. Similarly, there has been another near Sabrimala night frog which was discovered. So therefore the environmental activists have been opposing these water projects, because they will alter the hydrological cycle of these areas. The river regime all will disturb, and these endemic species may face the threat of extinction. So we need to because there are it is still believed that there are many species, 100 species in Western Ghats which are yet to be discovered. So these areas are very highly sensitive in ecological terms, and every developmental activity should be taken with the utmost care. Another Nilgiri animal called Nilgiri Tahar. It's a type of a goat which is found in Nilgiri Tahar. So they are found in the Sholas region of Nilgiri, the mountain grasslands in southern India. They are called Sholas, and these are also endangered species. And these species, the male in these species have a they develop a saddle on their back, and they are also known as saddlebacks. So Ervaikulam National Park, I told about the Ervaikulam recently regarding the Neel Kurinji flowers. So this Ervaikulam National Park is an area where these Nilgiri Tahars have been conserved. So they are also listed in the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. As I told you, 6 schedules are there. Schedule 1 is having the highest protection. So any type of hunting of these animals will attract the strictest of provisions. Stringent provisions are there. Nilgiri marten, it's a type of squirrel. If you see the images, you will really love the image, picturesque image of Nilgiri marten. They are also very rare. It's very elusive. You can't see it very frequently. You can't see it. It's a nocturnal animal, and they are vulnerable because their population is now below 1,000 individuals, and they are also endemic to Western Ghats of India. So they are not present in any other ecosystem apart from Western Ghats. They are called Nilgiri marten. You see, one trick I will tell you about learning or remembering these animals. Always look at their images. So when you look at their images, the figure just etches in your mind. If you just read the text, you will confuse what sort of this animal looks like. So it's a type of squirrel. If you see the image, Nilgiri marten. So they are in the evergreen forest and mountain forest which is found, and this is how the conservation efforts are being taken for these animals.